Episode 12. 1999.
Well, there we go. It's only taking me 6.5 years. Oh, we're about to finish the 90s. Now, if you were to ask me at any normal time of day what my favorite sci-fi series is, I'd probably bounce between either Star Trek or Star Wars. Did you add horror or violent to that? And Aliens and Predator definitely come up on the top there. So what's better than combining them? See, although they're technically different franchises, I would say I had a kind of trinity of sci-fi influence when I was growing up, and it was Star Wars, Star Trek, and Alien versus Predator. Different franchises, maybe, but to me, they'll always be connected in one way or another. Now, when this game was coming out, I would scrape every little bit of news I could find from it. PC demo disc magazines, PC news articles. I didn't have access to the internet, so I didn't get that, but anything I could find, because my two most beloved franchises being fused in a first-person shooter where you get to be any of the three races. Hell yeah. There isn't a very pervasive story. There is a story. There is a bit of a basic background, but it's not much. You know, believe it or not, I actually spent most of my time playing this game in multiplayer on my own. It sounds weird, but it's got nothing to do with any weird quirks of mine. But from when I first got this game to about a year and a half later, it didn't matter what I tried and how I tried to jigger things, the game would crash on starting any of the campaign stuff. Multiplayer would launch, and Skirmish would start. Now, Skirmish was horde mode with aliens, and it was way too hard for me at that age. But multiplayer and Skirmish let me run around, shoot things, test the weapons out. But campaign didn't start. It wasn't until probably about two years later, I think, before I had a machine that was actually capable of playing the campaign. Now, this game I have some very fond memories of, especially the first time me and my father actually managed to get the campaign working, and we started playing the Marine campaign. I was young, so I got a little bit too scared, so Dad took the reins, and then just a couple of minutes after he took the reins, I fell over the back of the chair in the rumpus room, and he fell off the chair because he got attacked by a facehugger, and we both shat ourselves, and then proceeded to laugh our asses off for the next hour. This is a first-person shooter where you got to hold the pulse rifle of the Marine, the double jaw of the aliens, and the claws of the Predator, all in one game through 3 separate campaigns. The Marine campaign was very, scary, spooky. There are things around every corner. The Alien campaign, you were strong and scary, but also very vulnerable. Predator campaign, you were tanky, you were the hunter, but you could also get outnumbered very well, and it was very difficult. It was not an easy game, especially not for me at the time. Now, you'll have to forgive me for blitzing through this because I have an extended part of this, and this is already going to go on too long, so I'm just going to do all the scores all in one rapid-fire succession right now. So let's start with fun factor. Fun factor, it was a 6. I loved it that it was Alien vs. Predator. I loved being able to play all the races. But at the time it came out, it was very difficult for me. And I just found it, especially the Marine campaign, very hard. Predator campaign was still difficult. The Alien campaign was easy. So there's that. Graphics for the time, absolutely brilliant. I'm going to give it a 9. There were no other games at that time where if you shot an enemy, their bits would fly off, except maybe Soldier of Fortune. Replayability, I'm going to give it about an 8. Because for the time, I could go back and play it again and again. And if you threw in a trainer, so you were invincible for a little kid who was a little bit scared of things at the time and didn't have as fast reflexes, that made it infinitely more fun. Now, for the reason I was so rushed and the reason that this video is going to go longer than any of the other ones is I'm going to introduce something into this for the remainder of the season, where every time I go through a year, I'm going to add some honorable mentions to that year. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to go through the 80s and the 90s, and I'm going to go through every single honorable mention that I've missed and put them here. Starting with 88, which I actually don't have any honorable mentions for. So I'm going to move straight on to 89. So the honorable mentions for 1989 are Laser Squad on the Amiga, Ocean's Batman on the Amiga, as well as Shadow of the Beast, also on the Amiga. Honorable mentions for 1990 are Blinky's Scary School, James Pond, and The Killing Game Show, all also on the Amiga 500. For 1991, we have Chuck Rock and Lemmings, both also on the Amiga 500. For 1992, we have Alien 3 and Fire and Ice, The Daring Adventures of Cool Coyote on Amiga 500, as well as Super Star Wars for the Super Nintendo. For 1993, we have Bubsy and Claw's Encounters of the Third Kind, and Super Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back for Super Nintendo, as well as Star Wars Rebel Assault for the PC. For 1994, we have a jam-packed year for this one. There were many close contenders. We have Descent on PC, Doom 2 on PC, Earthworm Jim on PC, Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo, and Super Star Wars Return of the Jedi on Super Nintendo. For 1995, we have Fade to Black, Mech Warrior 2, and Rise of the Triad, all on PC. There's only one runner-up in 1996, the incomparable Duke Nukem 3D. For 1997, we have Carmageddon, Nightmare Creatures, and Quake 2, all on PC. In 1998, we have Sin, Star Wars Rebellion, and Half-Life, all on PC. And wrapping up the final vulnerable mentions for the 80s and 90s, we have 1999 with Age of Empires 2, Worms Armageddon, and Quake 3 Arena, all on PC. And that's it for the late 1900s. Join me next time for the beginning of the new decade, the new century, and the new millennia, and the next leg of this journey. And I promise the videos won't be as long as this one was. So thank you so much for coming with me on this journey, and thanks for watching the video. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, bye-bye!